What's up, everyone? This is Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Fuck This Review, where today I'm continuing my rock and roll journey of listening to all these classic rock and roll albums and giving my honest opinion on them. So today I'm going to be discussing Def Leppard's Pyromania. This is my second Def Leppard review. My first one, if you want to check it out, I'll put it up here for you. My first thoughts on this album is that it's a lot of great energy. It reminds me of it gave me that old rock and roll feel, that loud stadium chant type music. To me, it didn't veer too far from the first album I reviewed. Certain songs on here I didn't know I knew until I started putting this record on. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember this from this, or just different moments in pop culture. But overall, I thought the album was okay. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I'm going to talk about some of the things I did love about the album, some things I didn't like about the album, and just give my overall take on it. By the way, if you're here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you follow me on all platforms at LifeAsTatum. So let's get into it. The album is only 10 records, a little under an hour. It's the band's third record. It came out top of the year, 83. And from the research I was doing, and Def Leppard fans, you let me know in the comments. You guys would know better, but it seemed like when they dropped this album, what's the words I'm looking for? It was kind of one of the few rock albums keeping that prestige rock sound in the 80s when everything was going so synthesizers and just that 80s sound of music. They stuck to their guns and made like a real rock and roll album. This is what I read. You could correct me. You can let me know in the comments if that's true or not. If you grew up in the times of the 80s and was a Def Leppard fan and you were there from the beginning, you know. Also read that the band was in debt and they had to sell at least 3 million records to get out of debt. And I just thought that was a crazy crazy pressure going into making an album and hoping it delivers. And also, I read that this album, being that it was one of the ones that made their distinction from hard rock to kind of pop rock. I want to check out their first album just to see what critics meant by that. Like, they went from hard rock to still hard rock, but more commercial appealing. And this record is huge. Like, it sold over 10 million records. Diamond worldwide is probably 20 something. So let's get into it. The album starts with rock till you drop. Obviously, catchy hook. My thoughts going into it when I first heard it, I didn't know what I was gonna get. My first thoughts was not what the song turned into. The song starts with those hard guitars at the beginning, and then you drop into this groove, which I thought was dope. But then it like does another switch when the drums like da 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 da, and then it like turns into this, for lack of better words, classic rock kind of vibe. And I have to say, I was kind of a little disappointed with that. Like, it not like, oh, I hate this song kind of way, but the vibe that they set in the first couple seconds of the record, I thought it was a great vibe. And with all that being said, though, I do appreciate the energy it brought to the opening of the album. It lets me know what I was getting into for the most part, but it's not one of my favorites on the album. Probably my least favorite, honestly. One thing I did notice, it's a couple things I'm going to point out in this review, so just bear with me. Rock legends always, it seemed like every rock band had like a homage to rock music. Like the life of rock, the rock and roll. Like, it was always some paying homage record to the genre of rock and roll. It was something I thought was funny to connect those dots. Like, this band did that, this band got a record like that, this band got a record like that. That had to be like on the criteria when making a rock album back in the day. Photograph. And that song's just dope. That's probably my favorite. Total switch from the first record, though. A little bit more slower, but still have that classic rock feel. I know this one just from pop culture, Grand Theft Auto, and movies and things of that nature. This, when I mentioned that, it was songs on here that I didn't know I knew until I heard it, and I was like, oh, I know Photograph. A lot of the songs on here, I'll just take a pause for a second to do a sidebar. A lot of the songs on here are stadium rock, and that's one of the things I do loved about rock music, especially the older rock. Is no rock now, but unfortunately, but that older rock, they always incorporate it like this. And it has something to do with the mixing too, which I'm starting to realize is that how they can make the hook sound so live and big, like it sounds like an audience is singing it already. So Photograph does that. It's a couple more records on here that does that, but it's something I just noticed as well going through this album. But Photograph's great. Stage Fright, I would assume that song's about groupie or a fan in the front row who turns into a love interest. I'll put it that way. Groupie might sound a little bit too harsh. I love this song because of the energy. The energy is just crazy on this record. It stood out immediately, especially coming after Photograph. And I feel like this could have been the opening song to the album. Like, obviously it has that crowd, and obviously that goes along with the theme of the song, but that sounded great. Like, imagine taking me through the life of a rock star starting at the show. I guess a bunch of rock bands did that before, so never mind. One thing I did notice that stood out to me about that song, not only the story and just the production wise, but that guitar solo on there. And then it's like right after the guitar solo, it's like a battle of the drums and the guitars. Like, the drum percussions were crazy, and I heard that they got a new member during this album, even though he kept some of the styles of the member who left, or I guess they kicked out because of alcoholism or alcohol problems. You can let me know in the comments. He came in and did his job. I love all the percussion work on this album. Another thing I'll point out with rock music back in the day is that they always had their songs with like sexual innuendos, and it was just very vulgar in a way. So much that I don't even think it gets talked about as much as, like, he says something like, "You're going for my head, you're going down, getting good at being bad, you're hanging around, a fun inspired asylum, toys for the boys, love on the rocks, forget me nots, you got no change." And I was like, oh, okay. Very graphic. Very graphic and Shakespeare-like. Too Late for Love. I don't know. I love how I love this. I like this song. This is gonna sound so weird. I like the song, but I don't know what the hell that song's about. I don't know what it's about. It sounds good, but I don't know what it's about. So if anyone knows in the comments, let me know, please, because it sounds good, but I just don't know what I'm singing about. That goes into Die Hard the Hunter. That's a great concept record, and there's something tied to that I'll get back to towards the end. But Die Hard the Hunter, I thought the production was great, the lyrics are great, the story is great. It's just an all-around great record about a soldier coming home from war, and I'm not sure if the singer as the narrator, I'm not sure if he's like angry with the soldier, or he's just painting his life as I guess the public would see it. At certain points I just, I couldn't figure that out. But still a great song. What's the words I'm looking for it's this album to be so ode to rock and roll. I'm not, these are my words, not theirs, but ode to rock and roll, just the sound and everything, to have the progressive songs on here like this, to tell that story, to have like this type of record in here, I thought was dope. Then we go into Foolin', which I think is a song about fleeting love. I love the production on there and how it transitions on that second verse. It kind of makes this weird transition where it makes it like this dramatic effect to it. Lyrics on there where he mentions like the flame has died and the fire is gone. Is anybody out there? I just thought that was some of the lyrics that stood out to me on that record. You go into Rock of Ages, which I think we're now in the second. Foolin' was the start of the second half, so now we're in the second half of the album, and we get Foolin' and we get Rock of Ages, and again, I think it's an ode to rock and roll. Simple lyrics, thumping drums, just your typical classic rock and roll record, stadium chants. And again, even the vocals give me that live feel, which I'll go back to the mixing of the record. Okay, next record, this is the one I want to talk about. Coming Under Fire. And mind you, I'm listening to this song. First time I'm listening, I'm washing the dishes. I'm just checking. I'm just, studying the album a bit. And, this is coming. I'm like, yo, this can't. Like, I can't even say nothing because it's like the innuendos of rock music back then is just so funny and comical kind of way. Like, they would use like, baby, you could drive my car or stuff like that, or like, stick shifts here, or light my fire, or like it used to be like these. It's comical nowadays. Again, it's like all those rock songs we had to talk about our groupies, we had to talk about our ode to rock and roll, and we had to make our songs about using a weird metaphor to describe sex. It's just funny. Action No Words, to me also, it feels like it's a continuation of Coming Under Fire. Even the production, when it goes in, it's kind of the same production. Matter of fact, not even just production, I guess even the same subject matter. Those two songs can literally be the same thing to me. And then we close it out with Billy's Got a Gun, which is just dope. And they do like this. Somebody in the comments let me know, please, Def Leppard fans. They do this part at the end of the record where you can tell it's a drum machine, and it gives off like this Michael Jackson-esque kind of like drum pattern. Let me know what that was about. Did they use a beat machine? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. That part stood out to me as this record was going off, and I heard this. I was like, whoa, they didn't do a song to this? Why not? Why didn't they do a song to this? And a weird thing that I think, this is like conspiracy theorist Tatum, but like I think like the guy Billy is the war vet who came home earlier in the album. And now he's finally reached his boiling point and snapped. Let me know in the comments. Let's get into my best songs. Photograph, Die Hard, The Hunter. I'll go with Stage Fright. Worst song, Rock Rock Till You Drop. I don't know. Best line, this is so hypocritical. It said, women to the left, women to the right. There to entertain you and take you through the night. So grab a little heat and come along with me, because your mama don't mind what your mama don't see. I was like, okay. Rock and roll people was legends. And I heard they have some, I didn't look it up, but I read that they have some crazy like groupie tales, for lack of better words. As far as a rating, fucks given out of 5, I give it a 3.5. For reasons I'll summarize in my conclusion. So let's wrap this up. When it comes to Def Leppard, Pyromania, like I said at the beginning, I enjoyed the album. It gave me that classic rock feel. It's funny when I listen to these albums from back in the day, rock albums, I always get this nostalgia, like, damn, it'll never be rock music like this again. Like, just that classic rock feel. I wonder how that sound can translate today. Like, how can we bridge that sound of rock in today's climate? Or is it just like jazz in a way where it's not dead, but so unsought that it's like, I feel like, obviously it's considered a classic. That's the whole reason I'm doing this, right? But, I always feel like a lot of the stuff, not feel like, but I always want to see how the stuff holds up today. And even though I gave it a 3.5, that doesn't take away from its classicness to people, or it shouldn't. It's just that I'm viewing it in 2021 going to 22. Like, I can't look at it in the same light, or it's hard to grasp that impact. But I am aware of it. One thing I love the most about this is the hooks. I love how rock musicians can make these grand hooks that like they're simple and crowd chant like, and it's something that I think should be like not studied, but just study. I think it's something for musicians to take that into their craft. Like, what were they doing to make that type of music? Because it translates and it relates to a lot more people when you, I guess, simplify it down. And that's the great thing about rock music, right? Especially classic rock. It's simple. It's not so much, we get into our stories here and there, but it ain't so much. It's a groove. It's not so much meant to be taken so serious all the time. So that's what I got from this album, because it sounded fun. It sounded like they had fun making it, even though if it failed, they would go more into debt. So, but let me know in the comments how you feel about this album. Let me know what this album ranks on your Def Leppard rankings, and what's some of your favorite records on here. Also, let me know what's your least favorite song on here. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Don't forget to follow me on all platforms at LifeAsTatum, and catch you next time. As always, fuck this review. I'm Tatum. Peace.